What's up? We're back with another Assistant Coaches Lounge here on the Chatted Up Sports umbrella. I am your host, Greg Larnard. I am the hitting coach for the University of North Alabama Lions. We got a fun interview for you tonight, fun conversation for you tonight. And I know this, by the time that this episode drops, it's going to have been a couple of weeks since we played this team. But our next guest is going to be a man who we just got done this past weekend, again, at the time of this recording, playing against. And unfortunately, his team beat up our team just a little bit, but he is the assistant coach in his first season as the pitching coach for the Lindenwood Lions. He's also a former softball analyst, and before that, graduate assistant at the University of Louisiana Monroe. He got his start in college softball at Syracuse, where he was a student manager for 4 seasons, where he completed 2 degrees, not one, but 2 degrees, one in broadcasting and digital journalism, and the other in sports management. And if that wasn't enough, he also holds a master's degree from ULM in exercise science. So it's safe to say our guest today is way smarter than yours truly. Put your hands together for Anthony Ruggiero here with us on the Assistant Coaches Lounge today. Ant, what's up, baby? How are you?
Doing all right, Greg. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm great. I'm excited to get a chance to talk to you. Some of our girls on our team, the Simon twins, were ranting and raving about you. They're like, "You got to meet Anthony. He's such a cool guy. I think you guys would get along. Got to have him on the show." So, bam, here we are. We made it happen. I appreciate you taking the time. So, with that being said, as I mentioned, you went to Syracuse. And before we get into your sports playing days and your sports career or anything along those lines, since you are a New York guy, I'm a Connecticut guy. So we're both kind of, on the border. I went to Plattsburgh, New York. I don't know if you know where Plattsburgh is.
Oh, yeah.
That's where I played ball. So I have to know who are your sports teams other than obviously the Orangemen. Who are your professional sports teams?
Okay, I kind of live in the Northeast, so Yankees for sure. Born and raised, never going to change that from me. You look like a Mets guy.
I am a Mets guy.
Yeah, no bad blood. At least you don't say Red Sox.
No, yeah.
At least all over the place. For football, I'm a Steelers fan. For hockey, I'm a Devils fan.
Ooh, Devils.
Yeah, love the Devils. Brodeur played up in Utica.
Oh, yeah.
Utica Comets, where I'm from, back in the late 90s, so have to respect the hometown kid and the hometown team. And then basketball, don't really follow too much, more of a college guy, but I mean, I'll give the Knicks a little shout out for that. I always played as them in 2K when I was young. So,
and of course, Carmelo Anthony made his hay with the New York Knicks, so you can't hate on that.
Can't hate on Melo right now. His son needs more playing time, but that's for another day.
It's another story for a different podcast. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about you. I want to know about your journey. And so how did it start growing up in around Syracuse, New York? I assume you played baseball. If so, tell me a little bit about your journey in baseball, other sports that you played, other things that you were interested in growing up as a young kid.
Yeah, I mean, so started out with baseball. I mean, I was not tall enough to be first baseman, really. Got kicked out to the outfield. And then just from doing a little bit of backup catching, got in and out of being, outfielder, catcher, and just stayed in that role. So always been our backup, but just stayed in the outfield because I had an arm. And then just to keep conditioning in the off season, played soccer and then got moved back into goal because I could catch the ball and I could jump and go from side to side. So kind of a little bit of back and forth to, I guess, keep me conditioned, and then running up with our forwards during conditioning, which a goalkeeper shouldn't really do. But they said, okay, here you go. And then from catching balls from the goalkeeper perspective, helped me for tracking down balls in the outfield and actually working on timing dives and everything. So the crossover between those played pretty well together.
Awesome. So baseball, how far did that take you? Did that take you through high school? I can't imagine you played at Syracuse since you were a manager for the softball team. So talk to me about baseball, how far that took you.
Yeah, being a 5'8" Italian on a good day doesn't really put you in the good gene pool for excelling high at the next level. So instead of going to the local D3s in the area, I decided, you know what, might as well go for my education at Syracuse. While I was there, luckily I did get to become the player coach for the Syracuse club baseball team. So hitting IO right in the lineup for like the first games, and then second game, bam, like go to third base, chat it up with the umpire, and just relax for the second game of the doubleheader and let some of the younger guys play.
That's really cool. Wow. Interesting. So you go to Syracuse. Now, first of all, why did you choose to go to Syracuse?
I chose Syracuse to stay close to my family. I had family members sick at the time. So instead of going, I was thinking at a school out on the West Coast called Pepperdine.
Oh, yeah.
Zoe 101 was filmed there, if you remember that show.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what a better place to go. But Syracuse offered me a really good package to stay there. And I got to be an hour's drive from my small town to take care of family on the weekends or after practice. So that's what I decided to do.
Very cool. So you get a chance to go to Syracuse. You're player coach on the baseball team there. How did the softball work into this? When did you get a chance to kind of integrate yourself within the softball team, and how did that opportunity pop up to be a manager?
So when I was starting with club baseball freshman year, the other manager for the softball team was also on the club baseball team, and they were looking for a bullpen catcher. So since I could catch and was basically being our catcher for the club baseball team, I said, yeah, like I'll come out to a practice. And they go, so I joined Dax, our manager, out there for a practice one day in the start of the spring semester. So started the competition season. And then Shannon Depking, the Syracuse head coach, just goes after like 2 practices. I was just trying to at least catch our the all-conference pitcher in Lexi Romero, who threw a 68-mile-an-hour curveball that just darted right across. And I was just trying to catch it. She said, all right, you look good back there. We'll keep you on. And it developed into 4 years of catching bullpens 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, and synergy and anything else you can think of.
Amazing. So that's really cool that you got a chance to do that. I can't imagine. I have caught a 12-year-old throwing a nasty curveball. I can't imagine a 68-mile-an-hour curveball from one of the best pitchers in the country doing that and trying to catch that. Again, when I played baseball, that was probably the one position that I never really played. So I want no part of that. I don't think my back can handle that at this point. So kudos to you for being able to do that. Now you go to Syracuse, you get an opportunity, you're doing the club baseball, get a chance to be a student manager on the softball team, doing your thing there, learning all about the ins and the outs. So when you went to Syracuse initially, what was your thought going into that? Obviously, you got the broadcasting, the digital journalism major. What did you want to do with that degree? Did you want to become a broadcaster, or was there something else on your mind going into that time going to Syracuse?
I mean, it was difficult to find broadcasting at Syracuse as I kept thinking about it and thinking about, the future and what I was going to do with it. I kind of got pushed away from the military, being a military family. And my folks saying, you're not going into the military. So it's kind of like, all right, I need to figure this out at Syracuse. So that was my time to figure it out under the broadcasting program. The news was always an option. I've interned with the news station back home. So kind of thinking like, thinking of a sports information director route for a college, or being an MMJ sports reporter for, a TV station and working the way up. And then just from working around softball more and more and finding understanding, the catching position, of course, from, having the experience from it, and then more and more from day by day, but talking to our pitching coach and the pitching coaches in and out and learning the motion and learning, the patterns that they create got me thinking, all right, I think I could foresee this in my future and something I'm actually enjoy putting a lot of hours into, instead of working, the lobster shift from 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. in the newsroom. I'd much rather do this and enjoy the long hours that I'm working and coaching softball.
Wow. So as you are a student manager and you're getting your degrees, obviously, as I mentioned, in broadcasting, digital journalism, and then the sports management as well. You're thinking, as you're on this softball team, you're thinking, okay, I might want to be a coach. Did you have like a light bulb moment that happened for you to realize or recognize, hey, I might want to do this for a profession?
Yeah, it happened close to the end of junior year, as I was going through some things, and I was in season. I was in 18 credits as well, so it was just like a difficult balance between it. And then I started talking to Shannon about I guess going into coaching a little bit more, because I did enjoy my classes in Newhouse, and being at Newhouse for broadcast is something that a lot of people strive to do, and I'm grateful to have that as a degree and have that experience for it. But I was thinking to myself, hey, like, life behind the camera is good, but life working to put these girls in front of the camera is even better. So how can I work with you, and what do I need to do to, I guess, take the next level to work up to become a coach? And then throughout senior year, she helped me find graduate assistant opportunities and just give me more knowledge to help get there.
Yeah, what was that process like for you in those conversations? What did she was there anything specific she said to you, did for you? Did she give you a little bit more responsibility when she realized that, hey, you were a little bit more serious about maybe wanting to make this your profession?
Um, Not, I wouldn't say responsibility part. I mean, she'll be the first to tell you. She'll give me anything, and I would go do it, which blessing on her. And I loved working for her and Syracuse for 4 years for it. More of a, all right, let's hone in on what you see yourself doing. And from you being able to be behind a pitcher for 4 years and like catching them, what what have you learned from that, and how can you keep learning from that, and what can you learn from, because as much as it is like, we're not always framing pitches as a bullpen catcher, we're just there to catch, and we can to have fun with it. But if you're like, okay, I can take a step back and focus on the motion instead of just trying to go and frame and do that, it's like, okay, I can see different things from this position. Or as they're warming up, you can stand behind them with the pitching coach and ask questions. So I did that with our pitching coach, and just more tried to learn more and more and more to land a graduate assistantship, kind of doing the same thing, being an assistant under a current pitching coach.
So what I think is cool about that is because as you're kind of talking, I can sort of see and feel the blossoming of you turning into a pitching coach. And in a female-driven sport, there are not a lot of males who are pitching coaches because simply because we've never done it. Like, that's not the natural motion in baseball. Like, we all grew up throwing overhand. So I still struggle, and I will be the first to admit, like, hey, I really don't know much about the mechanics, the motion, what you need to feel with the wrist twist or screwball curve. I mean, to me, it's kind of foreign language, but I always have a lot of appreciation when I see any pitching coach, whether it's male or female, being able to teach that at a very high level. And that's kind of where I was going next. And just wanted to hear a little bit more about how you developed into wanting to become a pitching coach. Was there ever that struggle between like, hey, maybe I want to do hitting because I've done that? Or was it always sort of, hey, like, I'm catching here, I'm getting this opportunity, this really good feedback, and I'm sort of gravitating to the pitchers because I'm seeing it every single day?
As I kind of stayed away from hitting just because I was never involved with it in practices, and from losing touch with it and doing everything like that, I think you kind of have to find one or the other. It's tough to pull. It's tough to do it all. And I guess from being away from hitting almost every single day, unless I was helping Shag, was like put me into that pitching and catching world. Usually I was the one to let catchers hit in live at bats, like behind the plate calling pitches.
Mm-hmm.
I would flash it back to Shannon and our pitching coach for what to call. So the sequencing kind of helped me from there to understand, I guess, more of the difference between baseball and softball sequencing. I guess using similar things, but also like you don't have 4 off speeds. You're lucky if you have 2 good ones with a pitcher. And if you have 1 good one, you're still plus for a pitcher. So it's noticing, all right, how can we set these up? Because it's only 1, maybe 2 change of speeds from that. And how can we use it effectively to I guess, put hitters off time? So that kind of helped me from there. Starting off from it was being able to call a lot of pitches and in live at bats throughout the week.
That's huge. That's a really good experience that you get an opportunity to do, like you mentioned, in practice and get a feel for it and get a chance to see how it's done at a high level. That's really, really cool that you got an opportunity to do that. Now, as somebody who played baseball in upstate New York myself, I had to endure a couple of games where there was snow that was involved. We had to play through a little bit of snow.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, I was curious, did you guys ever play through the snow, or what's the craziest, coldest conditions y'all ever had to endure while you were there at Syracuse?
Yeah, I think there's a reason the first 7 to 8 weekends are on the road when you're up at Syracuse is because the weather is not suitable for it. I think what was kind of funny was our junior. So in spring of 22, we went down to Tarleton State, and so this is Texas. This is Stephenville, Texas, and it was high 30s. And we're like, we left Syracuse to come down here. Granted, there's snow all over the ground. But so that was, I think, a little bit of a culture shock for those girls who thought that Texas was always warm. But we've definitely played through like a little bit of flurry that's come down. Against Notre Dame, I had to go run the tarp by myself and try and get onto the field for the girls to come help because it was just monsooning down on Easter weekend. So I guess that's another fun story. But growing up in the travel ball days where you can get Mother's Day and it's snowing on Mother's Day as you're playing a game.
Yeah, and there was one time I remember when I was playing, after I was done playing at college, I was playing in like an adult men's baseball league, and it was like my birthday weekend, which I'm born December 15th, and we're still outside playing games. It was warm enough to be able to play games. And it wasn't like borderline freezing. It was like nice enough to go out there and play a game on like a Saturday afternoon. So the weather's crazy all over the place. You just never know what you're going to get sometimes.
I mean, I golfed on December 23rd. I think it was like 2 years ago because it was warm enough and there was no snow. And then Christmas, we had almost a foot of snow on the ground 2 days later.
You just never know, man. You just never know. So crazy times out there in Syracuse. Now you get a chance to say, okay, I know what I want my path to be. I know I want to coach collegiately in softball. Talk to me a little bit about your path, getting an opportunity to go to ULM as a grad assistant and then sort of transitioning into a softball analyst. Tell me a little bit about that journey of getting there and what it was like getting a chance to coach from New York to Louisiana, because as somebody who did that, I literally moved from New York City to Lafayette, Louisiana when I was doing radio. You did the same thing, only in softball coaching.
Yeah. So you understand that big difference between, I guess, the New Yorker and the Cajun folk down there. It is, I'll tell you, Monroe was a great experience, and just throwing my hat into the ring to try and get down there was a great opportunity. Like you apply to multiple different things. And then as I was broadcasting the NJCAA World Series for softball Division III, I get a text from Shannon saying that Molly Fickner, the ULM head coach, is looking for a graduate assistant. She said, "I passed your name along, send her an email with your resume, and maybe they'll set you up for an interview." So it was just from a word of mouth little thing instead of all the other applications I went through. Just a nice word of mouth from two coaches to another, and it ended up getting me the job down in Louisiana.
Wow, that's so cool how that happens. When the softball world is so big, but it's also so small. And speaking of Molly, I get a chance to meet her at the softball, coaches convention in Vegas, and a fantastic human being. I really enjoyed her as a person, her energy, her softball knowledge. She seemed like she would be a great person to work for.
Oh, she is. Even on the desk over here, we still have like photos of all of us together that, love that staff, and glad that we got to keep the same staff for 2 years, because it's tough in our sport to be able to retain a staff even for 1 year sometimes. So to be able to have the same cyclical staff and the way Molly's built up that program has been tremendous.
Tell me a little bit about what it was like there at ULM. So you go from New York to Louisiana Monroe. You're a grad assistant. You're, trying to get your master's as well. And I believe it was exercise science. So talk to me about that process of juggling those two things, and then how you ended up getting a more concrete role there as a softball analyst.
Well, the first thing that you had to juggle was the food, because all that fried food is really good, and I'll have to get a lot of runs in that heat to try and work it off. So that was, especially well. So that was the toughest goal, number one. But At least with juggling, I guess the exercise science part, it was a good program and definitely taught me like a lot of things. And I was excited to get a master's, covered by the university to be able to and still spread my wings in the softball world. So definitely putting that on the weekends or outside of practice time, just to hone in on that. That way, when I'm in the office working every single day, from the time of going in to lift before then or practice, I can just focus on softball and focus on, all right, here's our director of ops work, because I was our director of ops there. So all the paperwork that needed to be done, everything else that needed to be done to take care of Molly and the rest of the staff so that they wouldn't have to worry about it. And then through that, as long as all the paperwork was done, I would go down and be in our bullpens with Leah Wodak, the pitching coach, and just stand right next to her and work with her like every single day and pick her brain about things. And she would pick mine about little things as well. But of course, she's head honcho, and it was great to, I guess, see her field of view from it, coming from being a catcher and two-time national champion with Oklahoma, and now into a pitching coach. So kind of having the similarity of the role of being a catcher and seeing it from that perspective, and now turning it on to the pitching coach side.
What were some of the biggest things that you took away from that time with her, those 2 years where you got a chance to really dig in and learn from her, talk to her, have those conversations? What were some of the biggest takeaways that you had?
I think a big thing is definitely keeping yourself like in line with the goals of the bullpen. And I feel like that can be difficult depending on what you're trying to do. Each bullpen will look a little bit different in progressing something. And that could be a 2-week goal, a 4-week goal. It could just be like a 1-week goal getting ramped up like we are now. But it's definitely keeping eyes on what that focus is. Like maybe we're not trying to build velocity right now. Maybe we're just trying to hone in on our spin at this velocity and increase and try and gain, an inch of horizontal, or tighten up and get more true spin to get that, or more top spin, even for rise, more backspin or an off-speed backspin. So kind of focusing on that and not losing sight that, oh, she didn't throw this pitch today, but we don't have to worry about that pitch today because we're working on this one. And to not lose focus that one day of not throwing that pitch, especially in your fall non-competitive season, when you're working on developing something else to be like a number 3 pitch to that number 2 or number 1, is more important than just trying to always throw every single pitch every day, which I think she did a good job in teaching me, is that some targets, we can't hit every single target in one day. So which one can we focus on, and how can we keep our focus and keep the girls' focus on that, rather than expanding it to everything in one day and then not gaining anything from it.
That's great advice. That's a great thing that you picked up there from her in that experience. Now, I'm curious, as a pitching coach, and we'll get to your time and getting to Lindenwood and things like that, but as a guy who wanted to become a pitching coach, would you go out there and try to work on different pitches yourself? Because I know from my personal experience, like obviously I've never really hit a softball, facing a softball pitcher, but I know the swing mechanics and I know what it should feel like. Did you ever go out there and sort of like try to spin it yourself just to sort of get a feel for the mechanics and the grips and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, I still try like do it now just to hone in on it. I'll tell you, when I first started off, I had a really good gravity drop. I kind of still do have a really good gravity drop. The girls will laugh sometimes when I'll try like a new pitch or try to do something. Because I'll be the first to tell a lot of times, like, I'm not the best at it. And like, I can probably give you like a three-quarter distance, like good drop, good off speed, a second off speed off of it. And I'm working on a rise ball. Like from 5 feet, I spin a great rise ball. Back me up to 43. It looks really, really discombobulated. So it's funny because they go, you can tell us what to do, but then you're not doing it yourself. And I go, yeah. I'm trying. Mm-hmm. I go, but I can recognize it. And I recognize what I'm doing, but I can't get my body in that position. And I will soon. The rise is coming together. But I think that's like a kudos to them that they can like the positions they have to get themselves into and the slots for everything is like so minuscule that to be able to recognize it on our part, but for them to be able to execute it is just a whole nother level.
Yeah, I over the last couple of years, I've been trying to work on my arm circle as well when I throw to my hitters and trying to give them a more realistic look at it. But I mean, you ask any of them, they'll make fun of the way that I do it or whatever. So I may have to have them video it and then send it to you, and you might have to give me some pointers.
Hey, I could do that. I got you covered anytime.
Now, in going to Louisiana, what was, and this is just sort of an off the cuff non-softball question. What was your favorite food that you had that you couldn't really get in New York that you had in Louisiana that you love?
Oh, I mean, there's too many to list, but I mean, crawfish when it's in season. I mean, if you can go through 10 pounds of crawfish, you indoctrinate yourself down there. So, as you know, either that or boudin, and not the North Louisiana boudin, the South Louisiana boudin. Two differences how it's made.
See, I never made it to Monroe. I've never been to ULM, so I don't really know all of that. But I'll be honest, that was probably the one delicacy of Louisiana that I didn't really care for that much. The boudin,
Really?
yeah.
Was it like the consistency of that rice inside? Didn't really like that.
I think it was just like the whole thing, man. I don't know. It was a texture thing. I'm not usually like that. I didn't love it, but I love jambalaya, pastalaya, gumbo. Obviously, the beignets are fantastic.
Yeah. Would that be your favorite then? The beignets, you think?
Honestly, I liked pastalaya a lot.
Yeah.
I think pastalaya might have been my favorite. Etouffee is good. Obviously, the charbroiled oysters are great. Yeah, I don't eat much of that stuff anymore. At least I try to avoid it, but I'll get a taste every once in a while whenever I see it kind of pop up somewhere, but haven't really had good jambalaya, pastalaya since I left Louisiana, unfortunately.
I mean, it's tough in Florence. I mean, it's tough to find over there. I've got luck. We have the second biggest place for Mardi Gras in St. Louis in the country, over in Soulard, which is tomorrow, funny enough. So like there's like little hints of it here and there, but I was lucky enough that the booster members down there at ULM, when I was leaving, go, here's a ice chest and it's full of boudin and gumbo, and like I got gator too. I'm like, y'all are the best. Thank you. My freezer is literally just boudin and Louisiana foods and then venison. So and then bagels. Of course, I brought down some bagels from New York. So
of course, man, you stocked up from all over the place.
Oh, I gotta get those because I can't get them anywhere else. So
exactly,
what else am I gonna do?
Yeah, I'm actually going back to New York this summer. And I don't get a chance to go back there anymore because my parents have moved out of Connecticut. I have an aunt and an uncle that still live in Connecticut, but I don't get a chance to really go visit them that much. I usually go home. My parents live in North Carolina now. So this summer, one of my best friends is getting married. So I'm excited to sort of I think I'm going to take like a week and a half and just sort of make a vacation out of it. You know, go spend some time in New York, spend some time in Connecticut, spend some time in Massachusetts, seeing some of my friends there. So I'm going to get my Northeast fill hopefully this summer.
If you want to come up to the Adirondack Mountains, let me know the dates, and if it connects, I'll bring you up to the Adirondacks.
Dude, I loved the Adirondacks, going up there to Plattsburgh and whatnot, like driving through the Adirondacks. Mm-hmm. It was a beautiful drive, getting a chance to drive all the way up there through upstate New York. So yeah, I'll definitely keep you updated on that when I'm planning to be around. But did I not see you at some sort of Mardi Gras parade this past weekend?
So because we got rained out on Sunday,
we
took the bus back, and then St. Charles has a like on the main street of St. Charles, they do a family-friendly one for like a lot of like kids and everything. Not like you'll see down in Louisiana, but like a big like one. And so they had about, I'd say 40 vehicles come by, not all floats, some like golf carts and things of that, but a wide range of people like supporting it, and a good like family-friendly Mardi Gras with the beads and everything for the kids and for anyone that wanted to go. So a good little parade, a good little taste of it to say, okay, still was able to make it.
Absolutely. So let's go back to the softball now and talk a little bit about, you had a really good experience at ULM. Talk to me a little bit about your transition from ULM to Lindenwood. How did that become a thing, and how did you end up landing this job of where you're at right now?
So I was applying for different pitching coach positions throughout as the nfca.org was posting them, because my time at ULM has come to an end from being 2 years, one as a GA and one as the softball analyst, still kind of in like a GA role for that. But and so I was like, okay, I need to find something now. So putting my hat in the ring to a few different positions. Lindenwood came down back in 2023 and 2024. So 2024 was my first year at ULM. So I had head coach Aaron Brown still remembered me from working the mounds in between the games and getting him ready. And so talked a little bit through that connection, went through an interview process, and I was lucky enough to be the one that she wanted to be the pitching coach, and an offer like I couldn't refuse for anything really. So decided to just pack up a nice little 8-hour drive north from Monroe up here to just outside St. Louis.
It's amazing how those things, work. She sees you working on the mounds, she remembers that, and then get a chance to sort of connect and get this job, and it just sort of worked out for you. So this being your first year, and you and I being in similar positions, because I was a volunteer assistant coach at UT Chattanooga for the last 2 seasons. That's how I first got introduced to softball and into softball. And I was looking for a hitting coach role somewhere as well. I applied to a bunch of different jobs. Honestly, I didn't hear any, from anybody or anything back. Ended up meeting our pitching coach at a camp. She really liked me, introduced me to the head coach, and the rest is history, as they say. Here we are. So you and I have very similar journeys in that regard. So what does this job in this role, in this first real opportunity for you, mean for you?
It means a lot. I mean, from a perspective of, being someone who didn't really have a plan because his plan kind of got pushed away from the beginning, and now coming into a role of like having a Division I pitching coach job and working yourself all the way up there. Again, people are going to support you and you'll have those connections in the community, but putting in your time and your effort and going through the interview process and earning yourself this role, it comes to fruition that like you can keep going and you can keep pushing to get to a spot where none of my friends thought that I would end up at. I mean, my buddies back home still joke around about it, saying, you're what? You're a pitching coach? I'm like, okay, yeah, enough from the business majors back there, please. I know y'all have good jobs, but you get to watch us play on TV. So at least you get to do that on your weekends. But so it really means a lot that Aaron took a chance on me and everything sort of fell into place to be able to get a Division I pitching coach job.
When it comes to your first season here as being the go-to guy, now the pitching coach, what have been some of the challenges that you've had to face in jumping into this role that maybe you didn't anticipate, or just in general, what are some of the challenges that have already cropped up from the fall to the beginning of this season?
I think the funniest one was one of the bullpens. I looked across to my left and go, Leah, and I'm like, oh, she's not there. This is on me. I'm like, okay. And I think the toughest challenge I face is I'm still new. I say new to this, and in the sense of I'm not as experienced as a lot of these higher level pitching coaches, and I don't have all the answers, and I'm never going to have all the answers. But I'm going to keep researching and keep studying and keep looking for more of them. And I think that's the one thing that was a challenge at first, was sometimes I just don't know. And even for like, it could be all pitching coaches, there's some things we may not know. And it's like, all right, if I don't, let me take a step back. Let me see if I can figure this out from one way. Let me look from another view. Maybe it gives me it from the side instead of behind. Maybe I can go behind the plate and see from there. But accepting the fact that I'm not always going to have all the answers, and letting the girls understand that I may not know this, I may not know why this is going on, but I'll take some video. I'm going to go back and try and work with some pitching coach connections, or keep studying it and figuring out maybe this is the problem, or maybe your body's just fatigued that day and it just did that, and I couldn't tell you the answer. So understanding that not every situation has, I guess, an answer to it. And it's frustrating because you want to have an answer for them. But I guess understanding that role and knowing that that is okay for that to happen.
Yeah. Yes, it is okay. As long as and you seem like a diligent person and being able to figure out the answers and working through it together and just being honest with them. I think that's the biggest thing for a college athlete. Like they can smell BS on you if you're trying to fabricate something just to give them an answer instead of being honest, be like, hey, I'm not so sure about that, or why you're feeling this, or why this is doing that. Let me look at some things. Let me take some film. We can break it down. We can slow it down. I think that is one of the greatest tools that any coach can have, and one of the best assets a coach can have at this level of not BSing and just being upfront and being honest with them. Because I think in the long run, the player will appreciate it more than you trying to be BS your way through something.
I agree. I think that they know when they look back at me and they're like, what's going on? I'm like, just go again. Like,
Yeah.
do it again and let's see. Like, I'm trying to break it down just like you are. So I don't think after one pitch you need to have all the wheels turning. Like, let's see another one and see if there's a true problem here.
Yes, exactly. You don't always need to fix something on every single pitch. And I tell that to my hitters as well of like, I'm not going to correct you on every single swing because not every single swing is going to be perfect. Like, I'm going to give you a chance to say, okay, this felt wrong. Let me see if I can self-correct before I say something. But if you continue to do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row, okay, well now we need to change something because you either don't know that you're doing something wrong or you just really can't feel it or figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to coaching, and I was kind of, as you were talking, I was sort of thinking about this, being in different stops where you were at Syracuse, then ULM, now Lindenwood, all Division I programs. When you were at that spot, when you were done at ULM after 2 years and you're looking for different jobs, you're applying to different things, was there any part of you that would have said, hey, I'll go to a JUCO or a D2 or a D3 or NAIA or something that was lower level, or were you always sort of like, hey, like, no, I want a Division I pitching coach job?
I think like everyone always wants to reach for the top, and I was the same way, that I wanted to try and see what I can push myself towards. The worst that someone can tell me is no. And at least it gives me background interview experience, and to just say, hey, you need more experience before we take you on. Great. Awesome. But at least you have that, I guess, connection there and your name in the hat. And it's like, oh, maybe he got 3 years more experience. We'll see what the stats were. We'll see everything, and we'll take a look in 3 years. But I was not opposed to going down as well. I had a JUCO offer my way as well from a good friend of mine, and then Aaron came in with this one that was, great. So it really didn't matter as much the level to me, just getting more of a feet wet in being a full-time pitching coach and trying to push for, I guess, an area that would be good for me and my dog, but also like a program that, has a good culture behind it and a good coaching staff helping to build that with the players. And I think I found the right fit with Aaron for that.
It does seem like that. And again, getting a chance to play you guys, and I know you and I talked a little off the air about it. You guys got a really good squad this year. And I was going through some of the NCAA, just offensive categories, and you guys put up 13 runs on us. That you guys popped up in a lot of the, upper echelons of a lot of those categories. So keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing for sure from an offensive perspective and a pitching perspective, because it was fun matching up with you guys. So as a coach, give me some of your core values, because I think all of us inside of us as coaches, I hate asking like, oh, what's your coaching philosophy? I want you to give me some values that you hold dear to your heart that you believe are really important in coaching these young ladies.
I'd say first and foremost, I always tell them, like, I'm not going to love you less for having a bad day. And you're allowed to have a bad day. And I think all of them want to be perfect on every single thing, or some get flustered way too easy. And then it takes on to them and they try and pour it on to others in the bullpen or something. And I'm like, all right, let's take a step back. I go, you're not having a good day. This is not a great bullpen at all. I know it. The catcher knows it. You know it. But you're allowed to have it. And I'm not going to go back and say anything about it because you're allowed to have it. You couldn't find a spot today. You had no spin today. Or like your body was so discombobulated and you're like chest forward, all this stuff, and it doesn't matter. I go, we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to have the same goal. My goal is to have a good practice today. Let's have a good practice. If you had a bad bullpen, it doesn't mean you still can't have a good practice. You could still go out and take PFPs. You could still support your other pitchers in the bullpen. You could still go out and do team defense and make good throws, field the ball cleanly, and do that and turn it into a good practice with having a bad little hiccup in the bullpen. You could have a bad practice out there. You could botch every ball for a PFP. You can overthrow your first baseman. You can come in and throw a good bullpen. So I think there's little things to take from it. And from you having a bad bullpen, I'm not going to just totally dislike or unlove you because of a bad day. So I think that's a big one that I like to hold true to them, that it's like, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Your worth is not in your performance.
Mm-mm.
We'll love you no matter what. You're here. We're here to support you as players and help you as best you can. And, we want you to succeed. We're training you to hopefully be successful. But if, like you said, you have one of those bad days, it doesn't mean we're going to love you any less.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's huge. All right, my last one here on, the more formal part of our conversation before we kind of get into some fun rapid fire questions. I know you're still young in this profession and you're still a young guy, kind of getting your way and making your way into this and in your first, full-time pitching coach job. But if you had some advice to a younger person wanting to get into this profession, what would be a couple of pieces of advice that you would give them?
I would say you have to want it. It is definitely, as you know, we are changing Teamworks itineraries on the bus day in and day out, going for it. And I think that once you find it and have a love for it, it's going to be really hard to fall out of love for it. A lot of people think that transition from baseball to softball might be weird, but once you do it, you almost never look back. So I think definitely wanting to love it is number one. And another little goal or tip for them. I don't know if I'm really old enough or experienced enough to be giving tips on this, but I'd like to never do anything that I won't have my players try.
Yeah.
So whether it be like a drill form, I'll demo for our catchers, because I also work with our catchers. I'll go back with the gear and I'm doing the stuff. I'll go behind cones to catch stuff and show them, hey, you can do this. Like, I'm an old man with bad knees because I run, which that latter part's true. But I go, hey, I'm going to try this and go through it. For the pitching drills, I'll try it. I might not look good doing it, but I'm going to try it and show you that you can, or you can get into this position to be able to do so. So you showing that you're trying to do that as well for them gives them and kind of relaxes them in that. And I think that's been a good learning moment for some drills they haven't done before. And that has shown up to give them some success in what we've been trying to do.
That's awesome. I love that you do that and you take the time to go out there and do those things. And as you're talking and you're saying that, it kind of reminded me of, probably a couple of weeks ago, I didn't get a chance to go work out at the gym that I normally work out at. And I ended up just jumping in with them and going to, jump in and working out with them. And one of the players afterwards texted me and was like, hey, Coach G, I love that you came and worked out with us. That was really cool. You should definitely try to do that more often. And it just makes them feel just more connected to you, whether it's you're going to one of their workouts or like you do, you're going to show them something specifically and kind of get down in the dirt with them and do something that you're asking them to do. So I think it makes a huge difference.
Agreed. And I saw you pulled a good one on the night of the 13th after the games, giving out the Valentines to all the players. I did the same thing the next day on Valentine's Day. I had that, and they go, the UNA coach did that, and I go, I know, I saw the TikTok too. I saw Greg doing it, but here you go. You're welcome. have a Valentine. So that was a good thing for you to do. I bet like that brightened all their spirits on the bus.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I totally did not intend for that to be filmed or to get blown up the way that it has, but one of my players decided, hey, I'm just going to film them, put them on TikTok, and it has caught like wildfire. It's crazy, but yeah, just doing little things like that for the girls and just making them feel seen and appreciated and whatnot. It's awesome.
I've got a whole candy bag that is for bullpen only, and yet mostly the field players eat it. So
nice. Hey, we got to incentivize them some way, somehow. Mine was a face mask. Yours is some candy.
Yeah, agreed. Or Diet Coke. You give them Diet Coke and they start going rampant.
Why do girls love Diet Coke so much?
Yeah, and it's not Diet Dr. Pepper. Some do, but it's just Diet Coke.
Mm-hmm.
Not Coke Zero. Not Coke Zero.
No. Has to be DC.
Yeah.
So I don't know if a lot of our girls drink it, but I've had like ex-girlfriends that were obsessed with it. Our head coach here, Ashley Kozar, loves Diet Coke. So I don't know. Do you like Diet Coke?
So I'm a Coke Zero guy, if I do say so myself, but I don't know. I'm more sweet tea. You can give me a gallon of sweet tea and we'll see how that ends up. But I don't think my sugar levels will be good after that. But I'll definitely put some hands on some sweet tea.
I see Louisiana sort of seeped into your veins a bit, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. You can kind of see if you can inject sweet tea into like an IV into me, I think we'll be all right for a bit. Yeah.
See, that was another thing living in the South for almost the last 10 years between Louisiana, Chattanooga, and Alabama. I'm not a huge sweet tea guy. Like, I'm very basic when it comes to drinks. Like, I love water. Like, I might have a ginger ale. Obviously, I like adult beverages, but like I'm not a huge soda guy. Like, if I go to a movie, I might grab a Coke with a popcorn or something like that. But
like I kind of agree. Like, I wouldn't order it at a restaurant. Like, I'm more or anything. Like, just give me a water, and then from now and then, I like a Coke Zero or a sweet tea, like depending on the situation. But like, I need to be better about drinking more water. I was good at it, kind of dropped the ball. But also, when you're in game, you're not really thinking about drinking water, thinking about a lot of other things. So my intake goes way down. And when you're on an 8-hour bus ride, the last thing you want to do is be the one for the bus to stop.
Yep. Oh, and shoot, you know it as well as I do. You don't want to make your way to the back of the bus to have to use the bathroom.
Nope. Especially through that barricade of blankets and everything else.
Yes. One time while I was at UT Chattanooga, I was trying not to wake anybody up. I was trying to, jump over seats and legs and armchairs and everything like that. And I tried to jump over a girl that was lying on the floor. I jumped over, hit a pillow or a blanket, and I landed right on top of her.
Oh no, you Charlie Browned it.
I did. Yep. Yep. Luckily, it was one of my favorite players, and she was, like one of the cooler ones, and so she wasn't mad. She was just sort of startled by it, and honestly, at the end of the year, we had like a little banquet, and a lot of them said that was their favorite moment of the year.
Yeah. Just hearing you fall and then.
Falling on Addie, just slipping and falling on Addie during a bus trip, just trying not to wake anybody up, trying to be nice about it. But
it's never the good moments. It's always something funny.
Of course. Yeah. Like I did a ton of TikTok with them where I'm doing dance moves and it was not anything good. And in the comments, they're all screenshotting my moves and my face. And
oh, no.
Yeah. So
you're going to be on a lot of memes in their group chat,
probably. I don't want anything to do with that, but keep it light, keep it fun. Speaking of light and fun, I've got a little lightning round question and answer for you. You want to play a little quick answer, fun answer to kind of wrap this thing up?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So first one, what is your favorite drill to run at practice?
I would probably say at least like actual pitching wise, big ball. I love the big ball to work on spin. If it was like an actual movement drill, I love doing like a slant board slider for them getting their hips through.
Ooh, slant board slider. I have no idea about that. I have seen the big ball, but again, hitting guy, have no clue about pitching. I literally, like, after the Lindenwood game against you guys, I went to our pitcher who gave up a grand slam later in that game, and she was missing up a lot. And I was just like, Kaylee, like, tell me what you were feeling. Like I'm trying to learn. I'm not trying to make you rehash this thing, but I just want to learn about like what you're feeling or what you're supposed to be doing because I don't really know. So it's good, good information there as well. Are you a coffee guy?
Yes, black coffee, no cream, no sugar.
Okay, I was going to ask what your coffee order for game day. So we're going black coffee, no cream, no sugar.
Yeah, if I like run into like a local coffee shop, so maybe I'll try like their specialty latte if something like that. But like at home, I have a little espresso like machine from my family in Italy that just brews it on the stove. So have like that much, and it's like 3 concentrated shots, and that'll get me going in the morning.
Yeah, that'll wake you up. You don't need to have those terrible energy drinks when you got that.
Yeah, exactly. Are you the same?
No, I'm actually not much of a coffee guy. I never really liked coffee, so my biggest thing was I never wanted to rely on something to like wake me up or get me going. Like if I can't bring my own energy and get myself going, I don't want to like rely on something and then crash out later. And if I knew if I was going to like coffee from an earlier age, I was going to have to load it up with cream and sugar to even make it drinkable. So I was just kind of like, I'm going to stay away.
Yeah.
So I've done energy drinks. I've tried like the Fit Aid energy to like make it healthier. They kind of mess with my stomach a little bit. So like I'm not so much on the energy drinks. And then sometimes I will do like a specialty latte, but I'll get like the smallest portion I can get. And I usually only drink about half of it. So I'm not a big coffee guy, for being honest.
You save some money. So
yes, exactly. With the crazy amount that Starbucks is and energy drinks are like I don't know about your girls, but our girls drink energy drinks like crazy.
Yeah. If there was an Alani store right next to our clubhouse, that'd be the best thing for them ever.
100%. All right. Let's, are you a early morning work guy or a later in the day work guy?
I guess it would depend on the time. I would probably say later. I like getting up early to do things, and I definitely will. But there's something about like 2 a.m. when no one's up, that no one can bother you. You're just in like a zone from like 2 to 4. But that was me in like, I guess earlier. Now I'm starting to think, okay, now if I'm up at 5, no one's going to be up with me at 5. So I'm slowly transitioning that way.
All right. I got you. One stat that you secretly love.
As
be a pitching person, it can be any sort of stat. It can be hitting, even fielding. I don't care.
Oh, that's a good one.
Anything.
I don't know. I do love the take first pitch percentage. It just shows how I can attack a hitter a little bit more. And know that, hey, if you're going to take that first one, like I might give you something a little bit more just because now I can work off of it. Or at least like if you're going to be aggressive, I know I might have to nibble or be more concise with that, or not concise, but I guess more precise on where we put this first pitch.
Okay. This is me nerding out a little bit on Synergy or 643, because while I was at Chattanooga, we had 643 charts, did not have Synergy. Now we have Synergy, not 643 charts. So is that something that you can find in Synergy?
I don't know about Synergy. It's on our 643 charts. This is my first time working with 643 charts.
Yes.
So
yeah, I know they have it there. I've been missing that first pitch strike percentage. I missed that information. And I'm like, I haven't really been able to unearth it in Synergy. Maybe I need to look a little bit more, but I loved having that knowledge. I do love being able to like physically watch a pitcher throw and try to prepare my hitters for that. Like I was fully prepared for you guys to throw a WAP at us, and you did not.
We try and see what are they betting on, and then I guess try and go a little bit opposite. But also, I guess from looking at the same thing with your hitters, though, like we're looking at swing planes and what you attack well, and then it's like, all right, Avery might have not been the best matchup for you. So that's why I guess that's why we didn't throw her. But
until the very end, and she slammed the door in our faces.
I mean, y'all 8 runs and 8 good runs. Y'all are a tough hitting team, and I mean, keep being that way. Tough to pitch around.
I appreciate that. All right, so the next one, walk-up song, if you had one as a coach, would be?
Okay, it's a SoundCloud mix. It's the mix between Frank Sinatra, New York, and then going into Jay-Z's New York and just mixes on that. So a really good mix on those two.
A Yankee after my own heart.
Yeah.
That sounds. You need to send me that because I would love to hear it.
I can send you that first minute 30. If that doesn't get you going as a New Yorker, I don't know what will.
Oh man, that sounds fire. All right, we obviously take a lot of road trips as coaches and as in this collegiate profession that we've chosen to endure. What is your favorite road trip snack?
Beef jerky's a great option. I would probably say beef jerky. If you give me a whole thing of Swedish fish, I will eat a whole thing of Swedish fish though. So either that or the Buc-ee's blue whales.
Oh yeah, those are good. So. Yep. I feel like we're almost the same person because I love beef jerky and I freaking love Swedish fish as well.
Yeah, they're good. You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. Also, for me, I don't know how you feel about these, but I love like the combos, the pretzel with the cheese inside of them.
Yeah,
that would probably be my favorite.
Good choice too. That's a good gas station pickup.
Yeah,
you have to be smart on the road. Yeah.
If you weren't coaching, what would you be doing?
Well, I used to be a butcher and a forklift driver. So,
whoa, that's out of left field.
Yeah, two different things as like second jobs or even summer jobs to make money. So, I don't know. I feel like I'd be working at like someplace back home, taking care of family. Don't know what I would be doing. Probably be a local reporter at our local news station, I would say.
There you go.
If that was using my degree. If not using my degree, definitely a forklift driver.
All right. As the pitching coach, you can appreciate a fantastic defensive play behind your pitchers. What is your favorite defensive play to witness or watch?
I mean, just to be selfish to the pitcher, I love a ground ball back to the pitcher and like a PFP. But if you can make a 1-2-3 double play with the bases loaded and pull one of those out to get you out of the jam, I'll take that as well.
Yeah, that is always a big time rally killer. What is one word that defines your coaching style?
Yeah,
I know one word is tough.
I know one word's tough for this one.
You can make it a couple words if you want. We'll bend the rules for you.
I'm going to try and keep it one. I'm going to say composed. The emotions will show when they need to, but our hitting coach has been getting yelled at more from the umpires when my pitchers have been on the mound than me, which is funny. I'm just there, I guess, like I bob my head a little bit as I'm calling because I'm thinking, okay, if she does this, I can set this up. If she doesn't, how do I set up the next stuff? So my mind's just thinking on this. And like, of course, I'm not truly thinking about the umpire. I'm trying to think about location and where to go. So I guess the composure comes out there. And like, if you see me getting after an umpire, he's done something wrong. And I have signs with my catchers to feel that out too, which is good to know. But I'd say more composed. I think the biggest let out I've had so far, and the girls will see, is like my clipboard might get tossed somewhere. And that's if I'm really angry. None have this year so far. So we're 8 games in. We're doing good. Clipboards are that's a tough one. That's a tough budget hit. So trying to keep it that way. So if you see a clipboard go, that's when the composure is a little bit lost. But it happens to all of us, and I'd rather it be a clipboard than anything else.
Absolutely, I'm with you. I'm kind of a similar way as well. I don't really get too emotional during a game. Too high, too low, you lose that composure. The only thing that I've done so far this year, and it was in our opening weekend, probably our third or maybe I think it was our third game, maybe our fourth game. We were playing against Troy, and we had a little rally going. We were down 4-0. We had scored we had a home run to cut it 4-1, and then we got a runner on. Pinch runner comes in. I tell her, hey, let's go base to base. Like, let's not be crazy. Obviously we're still trailing 3 runs here, and this girl we're in the middle of our order as well. Hits a little blooper over the shortstop into left center. And she's rounding, she hesitated because she wasn't sure if it was going to get down. And I'm yelling at first base, go, go, go. And she just goes and she keeps going to third. And she gets thrown out. I'm not going to say by a mile, but she was out, convincingly. And afterwards, she thought I was saying go 3, go 3, go 3. And while she did that, and I realized she wasn't stopping, I turned and took my hat off, and with glasses on it and everything, threw it into the dirt or to the turf because I was so mad that she just taken that turn and was going.
Mm-hmm. Hey, it happens. And like I said, that stuff is, I say replaceable, but it's also like, okay, the emotions got the best of us. At least it's something that is not hurtful to someone else or something else.
Exactly.
Just a hat or a clipboard.
Yeah, that's it. Just keep it to that.
Yeah.
What is the most underrated trait that you believe is an underrated trait in a recruit? Again, I know you haven't really gotten an opportunity to fully immerse yourself in recruiting as, a student manager and, at ULM. I don't know how involved you were with that, but I know you've probably done camps or you've been around it. So what is something that's very underrated that you're looking for as a coach in a recruit?
I think self-confidence is an underrated trait, just because like that's a chance where you can talk to us. So you coming up and just having a conversation or being able to hold one with us and being like confident to talk to an adult, I think is such a underappreciated, but also lacked trait in some of these recruits. Like the first thing I like to do when they go to camp is like, if it's a morning one, all right, what you eat for breakfast? And they're all like, the coach is talking to me. And the one girl that will respond, Waffle House. I'm like, yeah, we're sprinting to start. So you want to change that answer as a joke to her. But then if they like can joke around a little bit back or say that, I mean, it's like, bam, who are you? If I don't already know who you are by like us doing that and that, it's like, bam, all right, good personality. I'm keeping an eye on this kid for keeping it light. And it's already something down.
Yep, I'm with you 100% on that one. That is what I love about camps so much. Like I love camps much better than going and like watching somebody play at a travel ball tournament, because you can't talk to them at all and get a chance to know them as a person. So I think camps are super influential when it comes to recruiting.
Agreed.
All right, my last one for you, Ant, would be, what is one or two things that your players would say you say all of the time?
Drive. You probably heard me saying that a few times. A lot of them like to stop their motion and try and get cute with it rather than, just pushing through. So drive, I think that's a big one. I guess another one, food orders. Since we're in the spring season, fill out your food orders. You don't want me to fill it in for you because I'll pick what I like, or I'll pick tuna sandwiches. And I don't think you like tuna sandwiches. Not that they're a bad thing, but I'd rather have you fill it out than have me have to hunt you down for it. So as a pitching one, I would say drive. It's on a lot of their sheets that they get each day. And then definitely food orders right now.
Anthony Ruggiero, a fellow New Yorker, much like myself, or Northeasterner, I guess. I did go to school in New York, but grew up in Connecticut, whatever. I'll claim New York as well. It's been, dude, it's been awesome getting a chance to hear your story, where you've been getting this opportunity at Lindenwood. Like I said, I feel like our stories are very similar. You're just much younger than I am and have more longevity ahead of you than I do, because I got started into this thing a little bit later than you did.
Oh, you're going to have just as long. If my knees go as fast as I think they are, I don't know. I might be crawling to the finish, but you never know.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll definitely keep up with each other. I will send you that video of my arm circle, and send me that mix when it comes to the song as well, the SoundCloud mix, because I definitely would love to hear that. But I appreciate the time, man. This has been a fun conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. And good to know that you're now from New York, or from the Northeast at least, and playing at Plattsburgh. Good to meet someone else from up in the area that's doing the same in the coaching world.
Absolutely. And one of my best friends that I played with at Plattsburgh, he actually coaches at Ball State and was one of the big reasons why I got into softball coaching, because he was in it for a while before I was. So there's a couple of us that are scattered around the softball world as well. But continued success. Keep doing your thing, bro. You're going to be great, and can't wait to continue to follow your journey.
Yeah, you too. Thank you again for having me on the show.
Greg Leonard here. Again, Anthony Ruggiero here with us on this edition of the show. Appreciate you tuning in and listening as always. Again, make sure you follow us all over social media, wherever you get your podcasts, all the good stuff at Chatted Up Sports. We are under that umbrella. Want to listen to any of the other things that we do on Chatted Up Sports? That would be fantastic. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus, obviously, for a little while there because we were building out our new studio out in Chattanooga. But we appreciate you rocking with us here at Chatted Up Sports. Again, I am Greg Larnard, the UNA hitting coach. Until next time, this is the Assistant Coaches Lounge.